to Labour members, I've got obviously a lot of Labour members who subscribe to my channel. What would you say to them is the best way that they can sort of fight back against this? Because I get a lot of people sending me emails, telling me what they're doing at the local CLPs, at the local meetings. What would you suggest as sort of a person who wants an I am Spartacus moment for you all to stand up and say, no, we're not going to accept this?
Okay,
that's what I would suggest, that's the way forward. If you all stood up as a man and said, no, we're not going to accept it, they cannot ignore it, and they certainly can't expel them all.
Well, there's two things you can do. If you go to the Labour Against the Witch Hunt website, you'll see the model motion that I drafted and I got them to adopt. So it's on the Labour Against the Witch Hunt website, and you download this model motion, which basically you just add in little bits saying this branch or this CLP or this trade union thinks the IHRA is a bag of arseholes and should be abolished forthwith, and you should get your branch to adopt it. You get your CLP to adopt it. I tried to get my CLP to adopt it and failed because there's a lot of Zionists in there. But if you can get your CLP to adopt it, that's really important, because that
absolutely
puts the NEC, and there's 650 CLPs. If I can get half of them to adopt it, we'll be laughing. Also, the trade unions, they all need to think. People need to have debates about this in their branches and in the constituency parties and the trade unions. They need to say, there's a motion here, off the shelf, just put in your name, whatever group you're in, and get it passed. Because that's one of the main ways that you get a message up to the hierarchy. Yeah, and the other one, which is a bit more flagrant, is to sign my petition. And that makes it pretty kind of public.
Okay, well, I'll definitely add those links below the video.
Can I say one thing? Of
course you can, mate.
One of the problems, of course, is the media. So I've been trying to hawk my story to the BBC, the Guardian. And it's funny because I put out a story and I phone up the BBC and they say, yeah, that's a really shocking story. We're going to cover that. And then it spiked. They'll say a journalist will get back to you in half an hour, and they never do. And I phone back, and then suddenly everyone's gone for a cup of tea. But this even happened with Newsnet a couple of weeks ago after I was expelled. So there is problems, because you've got Laura Kunsberger, who hates Corbyn and who probably drives the IHRA within the BBC. You have got Jonathan Friedland at The Guardian, also very pro-IHRA.
GCHQ's mouthpiece. It's not The Guardian, it's GCHQ's mouthpiece.
Anyway, so you have some pretty significant publications that most people on the left, most people who are intellectuals, most people who believe in freedom of speech, they would expect those bodies to fight for it. I mean, I've been to Liberty, they don't want to touch me. I've been to Penn, they don't want to touch me. All the agencies that should be charged with freedom of speech in this country are interested. I wrote to 657 MPs. I had to spend a fortune in stamps to let them know what was happening. Not one of them replied. So we have a problem which is endemic, that people are running scared. Journalists are terrified of the phone jangling off the hook from the Israeli embassy. Now, this is something else. There's a group of us working to see how we can challenge this hegemony. Again, it's going to have to be civil disobedience. We're thinking withhold the license fee, put it into an escrow account. There's a whole lot of things people can do if they come together, because together people are strong. Together, I promoted this whole thing through Facebook and Twitter. That's how I've flogged this, plus about 20,000 flyers. That, I can get 20,000 flyers done for 300 quid, and I can paper Scotland, England, every demo I go on. I'm handing them out like hotcakes. And eventually, you got to start work, you build up. Now, certain groups like Jewish Voice for Labour and Labour Against the Witch Hunt think I'm nuts. They think, this guy is asking for trouble. He's poking the snake. These bodies are fundamentally defensive bodies. They're there to defend people who are unfairly criticised for anti-Semitism. And they think I'm causing trouble. And I'm saying, well, armchair socialism never won the day. You got to have massive public protest. Because just sitting there whinging, wringing your hands, writing articles doesn't stop this. We've got this awful thing. A lot of very eminent QCs, a lot of Jewish QCs, a lot of Jewish barristers come out and say this is a piece of crap. They've all had their letters. They've all done their studies. I've got Michael Mansfield on my side. They think this is a pile of trash. However, what I'm proposing is something which goes beyond the pale, because I'm saying public disobedience, civil disobedience. Just say this is a rule you cannot enforce. Let's just let's just show you it's ridiculous.
Well, I'm with you 100%, and I am. My subscribers know that I am all for civil disobedience when as the first course of action whenever you're being oppressed in some way or things are unfair. So, yeah, fair play to you. Thanks very much for coming on and telling everybody your story. If you hear any, anything changes or there's any updates, please let me know. You got my email, and we'll have you back on now.
Well, I mean, as I say, I've been suspended, and as I say, I think I'm suspended for a rule that doesn't exist. I mean, you say it's a 2016 rule. I'm looking at the 2018 rule book. If they can't get that right, what can they get right? Also, they'll suspend me for as long as possible, and they'll probably try to expel me for talking to you today about it. But I'm saying, well, they blew it when they leaked to the Jewish News. They broke the contract of confidentiality, so they can't do me for that. And if they will, I'm just going to go all over them like a ton of grips, because I believe we'll end up using the courts to defeat some of these things. It's not going to be easy, and most people, and it'll be expensive. I've got a fundraising website if you want to put some money in, but we have to fight this battle, and we have to get together, because unless we get together, unless we stand together, unless we say this is a piece of crap, we will just be picked off one by one. And you'll see people like Chris Williamson getting crucified, people getting nailed completely unfairly, completely unreasonably. We all need to stand together and say this is crap.
Well, I've got you. There you go. Show your shirt, Pete.
And the bit at the back's very significant. Look.
Go on, turn around.
Can you see?
Boycott and isolate Israel.
So that's what it's all about. This is sanctions. We got to sanction Israel. What I want, just one thing I've got to say, why this battle is important. If we win this, we free Corbyn's hands.
Yeah.
If we win this, he becomes prime minister. If we win this, he's the first prime minister ever to suggest sanctions. If he's free enough to say Israel's racist, we could have sanctions. If we put sanctions on Israel, my God, the whole thing will start falling apart. Double quick. That's why we need to kill it. That's why we need Corbyn as prime minister, because this is our biggest chance in the generation to stop this. If Tom Watson becomes leader, we're cooked. If Keir Starmer becomes the leader, we're cooked. We need Jeremy Hardy to do this, because no one else has got the balls to do this.
Right, I totally agree with you, mate. I totally agree with you, and I stand in solidarity with you, and I know that the vast majority of my audience does as well. Thanks very much for joining us.
That's great. Thanks very much. Thanks, Gordon. Cheers now.
Thanks for watching. Please make sure you're still subscribed and click the bell below for a notification of when I drop further videos. Also, click through to my website to find out ways which you can support me. I can't do this without your support, and I really appreciate it. Till next time, peace and take care.